A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the Hindu newspaper class with me for 27th February 2026. Just the second last day for the whole month of February. And another new month, that's March 2026, broadly about 2 months away from the prelims exam for 2026. So let's gear up, let's just revise, let us focus on the studies, and now is the time to actually prioritize studies and revision above everything. Okay, now on that note, let me quickly show the QR code of the Telegram channel to those students who are still trying to find the channel or who are wondering how can we reach out to the channel. So here's the QR code and you can quickly download that. Every morning we do display it for a while. So finally, I have about 6 news articles from today's newspaper. I wouldn't say that it is a very lengthy newspaper today, not like yesterday, but definitely it's an interesting newspaper because we are having to travel a lot today. And where all are we going? Where all are we visiting? So we shall be visiting Sudan, and then we also have to talk about Iran. We will look into India, Israel, so definitely West Asia. And then the editorial articles here are quite interesting because we are looking at diverse topics in the editorial. We are looking at poverty, we are looking at critical minerals, we are also looking at India's entire negotiation with the West Asia. So quite interesting and diverse there. Let's begin from page 10, that's editorial page. The very first article is looking at cycle of deprivation and affluence in India. Affluence means when somebody has money, rich, in English, you can also say well heeled, versus the people who are experiencing deprivation. For those who are wondering, what is deprivation? Deprivation is a much broader measurement of poverty as compared to income poverty. Deprivation means multidimensional poverty, something that India has adopted from 21 onwards, 2021. And in India, of course, it's Niti Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, the body which replaced Planning Commission of India, which measures the national MDI, multi-dimensional poverty index for us, okay, based on about 12 indicators. Yes, very good. Absolutely. My synonym masters are already at work. So thank you, Shlok and Ramu. And before I begin with this article, let me quickly welcome all my dear aspirants who have joined the class. And then we shall start breaking this article down. Today, before we end the class, I have some very interesting quiz game to play with all of you. So here I will just throw some objective questions on you. And this is something I'm planning to do every day now. Why? Because prelims are coming, no? So I'm thinking after every class, once we finish the articles, in just last 5 minutes, let's try to do a kind of verbal quiz game. I shall get you objective questions and I'll give you one or two options and then you tell me the answer. A great fun way of revising, remembering all the important topics. We'll start from today. Okay, that's a lot of fun. All right. And yes, of course, thank you, Madhav, for reminding us. Today, 6 p.m. is the last day for filling the application form. So anybody who hasn't done it, please, bache, do it today because the first step is application form, right? So you must fill it. Please help each other out. Whosoever is having any doubt, there are videos online. Take each other's help, but just make sure you fill it properly. Today, 6 p.m. is the last day and the window is only till 6 p.m. Remember. All right, great then. Let me quickly welcome my dear students, Bulbul, Shakti, Sumed, Deepak, Sitaram, Akash, Hika, Hira, Tai Thong, Pranarthi, Aman, Yuvraj, Bhavna, Sadhana, Sharlok, Anoop, Kritik, then Vineet, Kaizen, Sonu, Madhav, Shlok, Reshma, Ramu, Joham, and Vikash is here. And who else? Brajesh, Munna, Sadhana, I mentioned, Rajnishwar and Krishna. Very good morning, and let others also join in immediately. And we shall proceed with the first article for the day. Lots of love and blessings to each one of you, my dear. Good morning, Ganesh. What's the first article about? Let's focus, okay? This is editorial, bache. Article says analyzing India's cycle of deprivation and affluence. So, which GS topic can we associate this article with? Naturally, GS paper 2 and GS paper 3. GS paper 2, because we are looking at vulnerability, poverty, deprivation, caste as a factor of deprivation, gender as a factor of deprivation, religion as a factor of deprivation. So social justice, GS paper 2. But if you are looking at GS paper 3, then of course we are looking at multi-dimensional poverty index. We are looking at consumption basket, and we are looking at per capita income. So economy as well. Very good shlok. Okay. All right. That's just a name that people give when we are too attached to each other. So wonder if you're enjoying that name, but then okay, it's funny, but fine. It's okay. It was just a joke. All right. So GS paper 2 and 3. Let's proceed with this article and focus a bit on what the article has to say. Good morning, Eric and Vineet. What does the article say? Article says income mobility. Income mobility. What is mobility? Mobility is something that changes, something associated with movement, like a mobile phone. It can go from one place to another. If you talk in the terms of society, it means change in your position. A very good example, if you look at caste system in India, is there a mobility in caste system? No. Caste system has no mobility. Because in a caste system, you will die in the same caste in which you are born. There is no movement up or down. But if you compare this with class, income, job, then is there a mobility? Yes, there is a mobility. If my society is an open system, if my society believes in class dynamics in terms of income, job, and education, then of course urban India has a lot of mobility. But if you look at conservative elements of society, then gender and caste, they do not give you mobility. You can't change your status. Correct. Everything is decided by society, by your economic position in society. So this article is looking at income mobility. What do you mean by that? The movement of households up or down the income ladder in a society. Article says, for a very long time, people were measuring poverty as inequality. Inequality of income. If you can earn, depending on your salary, you are either poor, below poverty line, or you are rich, or you are middle class. There is no other criteria. Today we have understood. After we have seen the model of Oxford University and UNDP, we know that poverty is not enough. Income poverty is not enough when we are understanding someone's deprivation. And therefore, today in India, we believe in a much broader system that's called MDPI, multidimensional poverty index. And what do you mean by that? Rather than saying that someone is rich or poor on the basis of income that they earn, we are looking at 12 parameters. Somebody can be poor if somebody doesn't have access to clean cooking fuel. Somebody can be called deprived if they have no access to a bank account, unbanked. Someone can be poor if they do not have sanitation or clean drinking water. Someone can be deprived if they do not have rights to education or participation in the workforce. So, poverty is one thing, deprivation is a much broader concept. Agreed. Agreed, as Narasimha says. In India, we've had multiple committees who have tried to give different definition of poverty, right from Tendulkar committee to Lakdawala committee. So many came and went. But today we understand it is multidimensional poverty that is the best measurement of poverty. And unfortunately, if you are looking at the Global Multidimensional Poverty Report from 2021, it clearly says in India, deprivation is highly related to gender, caste, race, region, and religion. That means, as per the data, out of every 6 multidimensionally poor Indians, one is automatically either an SC, ST, OBC, or some or the other backward community. It is a data that has to say that. So, why is this topic so important for UPSC? Because income mobility shows whether people are progressing in life or are they slipping down towards backwardness. And that is something only income mobility can show. Income mobility, how much can households move up or how much are they going down in the income ladder of your society. It gives a deeper picture of economic and social justice. What is income mobility? Now, under income mobility, let's understand households were divided into 3 categories. The top 10% percent are the high income groups. They receive the maximum amount of income. Why? Naturally, because they are engaged in white collar jobs or entrepreneurship. Second, middle income group. 40% people are here. This is the data from 2014 income ranking. Third is the bottom 50%. Now, the data itself shows you the limit of income inequality in India. But if you see the data, you will realize 50% people are in the bottom. Do you see that? How stratified, how divided Indian society is. And now, if you measure the income movement, income mobility from 2014 to 25, say over a period of 10 years, you will realize that there has been too much downward mobility, but there has hardly been any kind of upward mobility. This is very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Why? Because if you look at the major findings of the income mobility data in the last 10 years, you will realize that downward mobility has expanded. The data says from 14% downward mobility in 2015, Indian society is seeing 26.8% downward mobility. Downward mobility in 2025. That means the number of people who are sliding down their income ladder are too high. And what about upward mobility? Upward mobility has increased very, very little. Say from 14% in 2015 to only about 23% in 2025. And that's a very little movement as compared to downward mobility. What about those who didn't change at all, who have remained stable? Stability has been seen by 50% of the population because they were always at the lower rung of society. They never increased, although they have not decreased either. Can we conclude something on the basis of this data? Yes. What we can say is that more and more households in India are slipping down rather than rising up. And that's unfortunate. That shows growing vulnerability among people. Absolutely. Vineet, whether you call it the cycle of poverty, whether you say in India there are many kinds of poverty, ranging from absolute poverty. If you remember, we saw a news last month that Kerala has become the first state in India to defeat extreme poverty. It has declared itself a state free from extreme poverty. Then comes secondary poverty. What is secondary poverty? What is secondary poverty? Secondary poverty shows that people have money, they are earning, but they are not using it on food, medicine, and education. They are using it on unhealthy things like gambling, alcohol, and tobacco abuse. What is relative poverty? Relative poverty is comparative poverty. Compared to other groups in society during the same time, in the same society, how deprived are you? Then comes intergenerational poverty. Poverty carries from one generation to another. It is often found in the case of informal labor, bonded labor, like agriculture labor, bricklaying, cracker making, or mining. Here, generations are borrowing loan and then their children and grandchildren always try to repay that loan. So, generations are caught in a poverty cycle, and then comes the vicious cycle of poverty. Once trapped in the cycle, it's very difficult to come out of it. Why? Because it's very tough to change your income mobility through education. Because in India, they are related to structural factors like gender, caste, and religion. Another thing is, poverty also exacerbates poverty. Poverty makes poverty worse through a culture of poverty. Once I told you in the class a thinker called Oscar Louis. Oscar Louis. He used to talk about culture of poverty, the loop of poverty. Very good, Deepak. Where people who are very poor, they sometimes also get too dependent. They sometimes get too addicted to taking help from the government. They want to depend on freebies. They want to depend on welfare schemes. That also leads to a culture of poverty in people. And that's why in India, a lot of people are saying don't give too many freebies to people, give them skill. From 2015 onwards, the government has focused on skilling programs, National Skill Development Mission, PM Vishwakarma, NEP 2020. Because now we know giving job and giving money is not enough. Give the skill. Otherwise, poverty trap is unbeatable. So we have concluded one thing, and a very good question was raised by, who raised that issue? It was raised by someone who said that what about the multidimensional poverty report? Yes, Shlok is saying, very good, that a certain number of people were actually reported to have come out of absolute poverty in India. According to the latest MDI report, many people have come above poverty line. But poverty line is an extreme measurement of poverty. It shows the threshold below which you don't have any basic income to survive. This article is not talking about poverty line or extreme poverty. That's a different concept. Here we are looking at, in general, the phenomena of income mobility. How many people could go up and how many actually came down? Very few people have gone up and many more people are sliding down because the economic gains have been uneven in India. Now, why are they uneven? Let's do a quick comparison in rural and urban. Look at rural India. What is rural India? In rural India, 29% people have become worse bache since 2025. There has been a sharp decline in average income since 2014 to 29. And after COVID pandemic, vulnerabilities are very high. What about urban India? Urban India is slightly better. It's slightly better. People are having a faster upward mobility as compared to rural India. What does it show? Very good, Ramu and Shlok. Very good, Deepak. It shows that the benefits of economic growth are urban centric. Who said that? Absolutely sure. They haven't trickled down to the rural population. And therefore, majority of rural population is unfortunately still depending on the freebies and welfare programs of the government. One big reason could be the lack of agriculture productivity. In India, we don't have agriculture productivity. Agriculture is a declining, loss-making sector. But then you all know, from childhood we have studied the same thing, that in India, agriculture is our main livelihood. Even till date, more than 70% population depends on agriculture. That's a lot of population. Imagine India has 1.47 billion people. Out of that, if 70 or 65% also are dependent on agriculture, how will they survive? Agriculture is a loss-making domain as it is. We are yet to modernize agriculture to catch up with climate change. So can you imagine the level of deprivation in agriculture? And that explains distress migration. In fact, if you ask me, it is the decline of agriculture that's responsible for both rural poverty and urban poverty. We know that, right? Why? Because it is due to non-productive agriculture growth. Very good. Who said that? Very good, Bhavna. In rural India, we have disguised and seasonal unemployment. Now, same people migrate to urban India to find better jobs, but you know that. You know, as UPSC aspirant, they are not finding better jobs. Unemployment is migrating, people are not. From disguised plus seasonal to structural plus vulnerable. That's the nature of Indian unemployment. Today, even cyclic unemployment is becoming common. So, in that case, you can say that gains have been urban centric. Definitely, rural India is worse off. Now, let's look at the caste dynamics of deprivation. You all know India is a deeply stratified society. When you will study GS1 social issues and Indian society, and those who will study sociology, anthropology, you will study one thing. India is a deeply stratified society, deeply stratified. See, all societies in the world are stratified. There is no society which is equal. Why is India unique? Because in India, you have multi-dimensional stratification. Multi-dimensional stratification. In a majority of societies, you will see people are divided on the basis of money, sometimes gender, sometimes race or tribe. But in India, you will see all kind of stratifications, from caste to gender to religion to region to tribe to ethnicity to language. Within tribal cultures also there is a stratification. Today, tribe is fighting tribe over scheduled tribe status, over migration issues. You see, it is kind of a very complicated social structure that you and I are living in. Plus, there is another problem. We are also unique because we are very resilient people. If you have seen PYQs of UPSC, in GS paper 1 and 2, you will find this question in mains. It comes every single year. Every year it comes. What makes Indian society unique? Is Indian society resilient to changes? Yes. We are very resilient to changes. I've told you multiple times. The whole world changes in a unilateral direction. India is the only society that doesn't change in unilateral direction. It changes in a circular direction. We have that tendency. We come back exactly from where we have started. Exactly the same place. No matter what you do, we won't change. We are very resilient people as a society, by the way. Now look at Dr. Ambedkar. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. Look at Mahatma Jyotirao Phule. Look at the doyen of South Indian self-pride movement, E.V. Ramaswamy. What happened? All these people came, propagated changes against caste. British came, westernized us. Did we change ourselves? Is caste not a fundamental feature of us? It is. What about patriarchy? Early Vedic period, society was very clean and neat. Later Vedic period, patriarchy started. Gupta period, golden period of India's economic growth, and still very patriarchal. Yes, 19th century reform movement, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Arya Samaj, Swami Vivekanand ji. What happened? Still date. Are we not having patriarchy? Are we not having caste divide? Are we not highly communalistic? We are. Who changed us? Could anybody change us? Globalization could not. Westernization could not. Modernization could not. Yes, internet culture could not. This is called circular society. That's the unique feature of Indian structure. We can't change structurally. Go do what you want. We won't change. We are very resilient. And this shows in the data also. Now look at the caste dynamic. If you look at caste-wise poverty, it is more shocking. Look at OBC and scheduled caste. There is a significant rise in downward mobility for these people. Around 25% have become worse in 2025. Scheduled caste upward mobility is very, very weak even today. What about scheduled tribe? Again, a heavy downward mobility. Some better upward mobility has happened in exclusive belts owing to targeted government schemes. But for general PVTG or scheduled tribe, the movement has been downward. They have not been able to cope with inflation pressure. What about unreserved category? Now, unreserved category also got some upward mobility gain, but still caste continues to be a major factor which impacts economic structure of India. Can't deny that. What about religion wise? Now, long back, I'm talking about a committee that was appointed. Now, I wonder if you have heard of the committee. I wonder if you have, if you know the date or the year of that committee. It is known as the Sachar Committee report. This is a very important committee report, and you will have to study this in social justice GS paper 2. Not much, just 3 points. This is a committee that was appointed to understand the social economic backwardness among Indian Muslim community. And what did the community say? Do you know that? The community said, unfortunately, more than 60% of Muslim population in India still comes from Pasmanda Muslim population. Very good, Shlo. 2005. Pasmanda Muslim population. Do you know about it? Pasmanda is a word which means backward. That means even in a culture that doesn't support caste system, in a culture that believes in equality, you still see, owing to long-term conversion, generations of conversion, we are seeing elements of socio-economic backwardness. Because there is an existing stratification here as well. So being a minority religion also comes with many, many associated problems, and the government was trying to encourage development of model villages to promote growth of areas which are inhabited by minority population. You see, religion does impact, your social economic status. There are districts in which we have seen Muslim mobility is weaker. Similarly, Sikh and Christian households have shown better upward movement initially, but later they also started declining. So, role of inequality is tremendous. It is tremendous. And that's the problem. People fight with each other. They say that no, reservation should be done on religion. I don't think so. Backwardness impacts everyone equally. Now, today we say in Hinduism there are so many backward castes, whether OBC or whether SC, who are suffering backwardness. How it is different, and how is it different from those backward communities in Christianity and Muslim and Sikh communities who are still suffering the same situation? So, how does it matter what religion do we follow? What matters is backward communities should be promoted. In fact, that's the purpose. That's the whole purpose behind OBC reservation, 27%. That opened the door of reservation to all backward communities, irrespective of which religion are they following. But in India, you see what happens. Vote bank politics. The very reason why communalism exists is because of politics. Common people don't want communalism. They want growth. But politicians want. Because without vote bank politics, there is no election happening in India. That is the problem of stratification, you see, and how it is impacting our social mobility. being the fourth largest economy and still deeply divided by caste and gender. So that is very upsetting. So inequality will always discourage people from aspiring. And then there are other reasons also. COVID pandemic came in 2020. Yes, now 20 election marked a political turning point, but COVID pandemic has severely disturbed the lives of informal sector and rural economy. Recovery has been very uneven. Informal sector work in agriculture continues to be unpaid or very lowly paid. What's the core argument? Core argument is that Indian economy, which is the fourth largest economy today, is still not on the basis of a broad upward growth for everyone. There is an increasing downward mobility. As economic growth is coming, employment is not coming on the same basis for the formal sector. Per capita income is not improving. This time, the budget has not addressed revenue issues like broader taxation system or income tax structures. But people are strongly getting impacted by inflationary prices. Overall life standard is getting impacted for a majority of people. Persistent caste and religious disparities exist. Is there a solution? Yes. Social protection schemes should be targeted. Please don't use them for electoral propaganda. Use them for people who really need them. Example, when we were looking at Bihar election, we said that Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana is a very good idea, but you should not give it to all the women, no? All women don't need to be treated as a backward community. No, women are intersectional, they are highly divided. Give it to women who come from, say, SC, ST, OBC, handicap, or EWS category. Don't give it in general to women. What is the point of giving it to middle class and upper class women? Then they won't benefit from it, right? So you have to understand the parameters of backwardness, understand caste and religious dimensions here. Only then can reservation freebie be legitimate in a democracy. Otherwise, it becomes a tool of electoral propaganda. And vote bank politics in India is very common. Now, if I will ever take your class on reservation from GS paper to social justice, then it's super interesting. You will love it. I'll give you examples of how people win elections in Uttar Pradesh. You're going to really enjoy that class. So, clear party have clear associations. For example, Samajwadi Party will have a tie-up with some other caste body. BJP will have with some other one. Okay, Miss Mayawati's party will have with some other one. And all the parties Congress has with some other one. Everyone is having a tie-up with one caste group. None of them will win the election if caste backing is not there. So imagine the kind of caste bank politics that happens before the election. It's unimaginable. Divided, dedicated, devoted vote banks. And these vote banks are so professional. All you have to do is to make the leaders of the vote bank happy, and at least 500 to 5,000 voters you are purchasing at one shot. That's the nature of vote bank elections. Yes. So we will study that if we get an opportunity to do so. But there's one thing we can always remember. In a society that's structurally divided, inequality is always a myth. Very difficult to find out who is the real victim and who is just getting sops because of propaganda. Quickly, the question. Consider the following statements regarding income mobility in India 2014 to 2025. Reshma already answers. Very good. 1. Income mobility provides deep insights into income distribution than poverty and inequality measures alone. 2. During 2014-25, upward mobility consistently exceeded downward mobility at an all India level. And 3. Rural households experienced a higher downward mobility than urban households. And 4. Education and urban location were associated with better prospects of upward mobility. Easy question. Is it an easy question? Really? C will be the answer here. Are you sure? Let's see who started. Reshma, Sweetie, Sumed, Vikas, Shakti, Sitaram. Okay. Shlok, Rajneshwar, Aman. Some new students are trying. Very happy. Sharlok, Kishore. Very, very good. Very, very good. Yes, we will have it, Kishore. Okay. Shlok. Acha, B and C, it's a split verdict, is it? Oh ho, it's a split verdict. Ramu, Madhav, Hika, Ashish, Anup, Kavish, Urupam. Good, good, good. Lots of answers are coming, but a pure case of split verdict. Justice Nagaratna versus Justice Vishwanathan situation. Can we now quickly break down the question? 1 is correct, totally correct. Yes, it's true. Income mobility gives a better picture of distribution and equality rather than only poverty and inequality measures. So one is correct. One is correct. Please eliminate C. Look at the second one. During this period of 10 years, upward mobility consistently exceeded downward mobility at an all India level. No, totally not, na bache. No. What did I just tell you in the class? In the last 9 years, rather than upward income mobility, downward has increased for most people. What did I just say? Most of the people are experiencing downward mobility, not upward mobility. That's the problem, especially in rural India, especially on the basis of religion. OBC, SC, ST, everyone is facing downward. So how can we say opposite is the true? Second is not correct then. Then D can be eliminated. 3, rural household experienced higher downward mobility, correct. As compared to urban, rural is worse impacted. And 4, education and urban location are associated with better prospect of upward mobility. Yes, that's why urban India has upward and lower India has, urban India has very low. So which should be the right answer here? B. So very, very well done. Anyone else? So well answered, Akhtar, Sumit, Pothu, Sharlok, Pranarathi, Sumit. I love the participation. Zahir answered, Bulbul has answered, Saumya has answered. Very, very good. Yuvraj, Joham. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? There is no happy sentiment in the class. No happy sentiment in the class. It's totally fine. It is completely fine to make mistakes. What we should celebrate is the fact that we are answering and many more people are answering, and I wish many more people can answer. So very well done for the good participation and for good analysis. Very, very good. It's okay. We all miss it. No need. I don't want the right answer. Just keep answering. Well done, Saurav. Well done, sweetie. Excellent. Very, very good. Everyone. Participation is the key here. Very good, Zahid. Perfect. So let's say B is the right answer, and I hope it's clear. Now, for anyone who has a confusion, but you feel free to ask 100 times. You can ask me. It's your right. I'm here to make it clear to you. If one child is also not understanding, I will take it as a failure of mine. So please ask, ask and ask. Okay. Let's proceed with second editorial article. The shift of critical minerals to India's strategic center. Very interesting. No problem, no problem, no problem, no problem. Brilliant, everyone. Brilliant. Bulbul, Reshma, Sham. Very good. We are trying, right? Great. Second article. Critical minerals, India's strategic shift. What are we looking at? We are looking at GS paper 3. We are looking at renewable energy. We are looking at Atmanirbharta. Atmanirbharta. Now, a lot of people are trying to say that India is trying to become Atmanirbhar by 2047, very soon. But actually, in reality, we are not just trying to become Atmanirbhar. We are trying to become Atmanirbhar, Atulya, and Agrani Bharat. Does everybody know that there are 3 adjectives here? We are trying to become Atmanirbhar, Agrani, and Atulya Bharat. Atmanirbhar is self-sufficient. Self-sufficient. Then Agrani is aggressive. Very aggressive. Atulya is somebody, you can't compare also. Unparalleled. Brilliant, absolutely, at the top. So there are 3 adjectives we can use for India. For those who struggle with Hindi, I will write it in English and let you know. Yes? Okay. All right. Let's proceed with the article, and everybody has performed well. Okay? All right? Everybody. No blaming anybody. Everybody has performed well. Everybody. Okay. Next article. What is the article saying? Article is saying 3 years ago. Let's say talk about 2023. Critical minerals were not a major priority for India. We never had it as a priority. But in 2023, minerals like lithium were classified as atomic minerals. Yes, minerals like lithium were classified as atomic minerals. Then, what was the reality? They were only restricted to private mining. You can't mine them openly. There is no public mining, no large scale mining. They are atomic minerals. What? Lithium. A very good question. Is lithium a rare earth material? Yes, we always say critical minerals are so many. Among critical minerals, there are only 17 rare earth materials. Is lithium a rare earth material? Yes. Quickly, Vikash, Reshma, Ramu, Sitaram, Shlok, Ashish, Akhtar. Is lithium a rare earth material? Terikula is here. No. Is it? Is it? Is lithium a rare earth material? Think quickly. Yes? I haven't heard from Zahir, I haven't heard from Bulbul, and I haven't heard from Reshma. Yes or no? Rajnishwar? It is not. It is not. It is not. It is not a rare earth material. Then what are rare earth material? Very good, Sitaram. Rare earth material are 15 lanthanides and scandium and yttrium. Very, very good. Let's remember this, but Prelims can ask a question like that. Because everyone is talking about rare earth material. Yes? 15 lanthanides, 1 yttrium and 1 scandium. These are only rare earth material. So what about lithium, cobalt, graphite? All these are critical minerals, essential minerals, but not REM. So very well answered. What about my dear Reshma? Bache, where are you? Didn't see your answer. Bulbul didn't see your answer. Has Eric answered? Urupam? Okay. Assuming that we understood. Critical minerals. Fine. But in 2023, we were not giving it priority, and that's why lithium was not even allowed to be mined. It was considered as an atomic mineral. But now you see things are changing. Now, in the budget of 2026, critical minerals have become the cornerstone, the core pillar of India's industrial, energy, and geopolitical strategy. Yes? What is the new shift? The new shift is that do we need a policy on critical minerals actually? Or can we even implement a critical minerals policy at a large scale? What are critical minerals? Critical minerals are essential for electric vehicle batteries. Example, lithium and cobalt. Cobalt is the blue color material. Whenever you see anything from Democratic Republic of Congo, you will see that children, babies, it's so devastating. 3-4-year-old babies, they have blue hands, literally blue hands. Because every day of their life, ever since they are born, they have seen cobalt mining. Their hands are becoming blue, bache. Imagine the torture they go through. Yes? All right. So lithium and cobalt, electric vehicle batteries, solar panels. Do remember yesterday, President Trump has imposed 126% tariff on all the solar cell imports from India. Yes. Now wind turbine magnets, sintered magnet, plus defense and electronic. We need critical minerals for all these, and therefore they are very crucial for carbon zero achievement by 2070. They are important for clean technology. They are important. Yes, silicon, copper, all these are crucial, and they are important for strategic autonomy as well, electric vehicle as well, totally, semiconductor as well. So therefore 2025 is India's moment to think about critical minerals. Yes. What are the major steps that Indian government is taking? Is there any special text that we are trying to take? Yes, absolutely. That is something I want to say. Each of my student is equally dear to me. I strongly believe as if you're all my children. Okay, I love each one of you absolutely from the bottom of my heart. So controversies or no controversies, everyone is super, super special. So please answer, participate, right, wrong, I don't care. Good, bad, I don't care. A teacher and a mother, they never judge their students or their kids. Okay. So I absolutely, absolutely support, pray, and love each one of you. So nobody should feel bad in whatever manner in the class. Nobody at all. And therefore, please continue to participate. And that goes for everyone because everyone is special. Super special for me, VVIP. Okay? All right? Okay. So let's maintain lots of support for each other. All right? Okay. Proceeding. Why are they important? We know now for so many reasons. That's why, very good, Zahir. That's why India has joined Pax Silica. Absolutely. Otherwise, we would not have. Because we are all frustrated. No problem, bache. No problem. Just stay happy and study. That's all I want from you. Nothing else. God bless you. Okay. So now the thing is, that's why India is now also frustrated. India says, just like US does, I don't want to depend on China. Is there something special that India is doing? What has India done? The biggest thing India has done is that India has listed 30 critical minerals now as notified minerals. What do you mean by that? India has listed 30 critical minerals as notified. That means we can do mining and refining in that. We can commercialize that. We have also made rules very easy for private companies and for small mining companies as well. The biggest thing, India has launched, very good Vineet, the NCMM, National Critical Minerals Mission. What's the budget of this mission? 16,300 crore rupees. Very good, Zahir. Totally, Vineet. India is now one of the most competitive frameworks in the world when it comes to mining and refining and excavating rare earth material, because we have the National Critical Minerals Mission. But is there a challenge? Of course, there is a very big challenge. What's the challenge? Very good, Ram. 16,300 crore bache. What's the challenge? Why is it so tough? Because China comes in the picture. Yes, Vikash, completely. China comes in the picture. China controls about 90% of global rare earth and critical mineral processing capacity, as Zahir said, upstream, midstream, downstream. Mining is time consuming. It takes decades and years. Processing and refining are the real bottlenecks. However, India has already decided, and India is continuing to produce high purity copper. In the last class, Ramu and Vikash had mentioned about the Khetri mines in Rajasthan. Yes, the Khetri mines in Rajasthan. When we were talking about how in 2026, copper has become a very rare commodity. Everybody needs copper, but copper is in scarcity now. Yes. So India is now already producing high purity copper, graphite, rare earth oxides, tin, and titanium. With about 99.9% purity, India is doing all these. Okay, let me quickly jot down. With 99.9% purity, India has now been able to mine the following materials like tin, such as titanium, copper. Apart from that, also graphite. Again, graphite, not a rare earth material, but an important critical mineral. But the production volume is low. Agreed, we are doing very pure work, but volume is low. This is mainly for conventional use, but the demand is too much as compared to the supply chain. So today, India has clearly three priorities. Very good. The Junjunun district, absolutely. India has three priorities. What priorities are these? One priority, create more domestic demand. Now, domestic demand is vital. Remember when US had imposed tariff on us and we did a comparative study with China. There is one thing we understood, Bache, that China is successful because China has been able to maintain a very high domestic demand plus a very high export potential. Even if a country comes and puts tariff on China, China will still sustain on the basis of domestic demand, but India is weak here. India doesn't have a strong domestic demand. We must create that domestic demand, and therefore the budget of 26 has removed import duties on capital goods, raw material for mineral processing. The biggest issue is there is no proper demand from India. Even now, private companies have not fully come in the sector of rare earth and critical mineral mining. We must adopt electronic vehicle at a larger scale, battery manufacturing, semiconductor manufacturing, and solar and wind consumption in terms of their utilization. The more the demand, the more the supply, the more the entire economic cycle. Correct? Next priority, AI first mineral exploration. Now, as a part of National Critical Mineral Mission, we have said that 1200 exploration projects are now going to start by 2031, and exploration will be spread across major materials like lithium. Lithium has also now been removed from the atomic list of minerals. India must do AI usage for exploring more minerals. This must be integrated with India AI mission, with Mission Anveshan and National Geoscience Data Repository. All these must go together. Battery storage is very, very important. Third pillar, geopolitics to build sovereignty. 2025 has seen a new phenomenon. Just like in 2020, the countries of the world were trying to weaponize vaccine. 2026 and 25, China has weaponized rare earth and battery supply chain. China keeps giving supply shock. What did India do? India responded by creating its own rare earth corridor, reducing import duty on monazite sands. Monazite sand. Monazite sand. What is monazite sand? In India, do we find monazite sand somewhere? Do we have monazite sand deposit in any state in India? Can anybody tell me in which state do you have monazite deposits? Very good. India has a lot of thorium deposit, we know. Uranium we don't have. Where do we get most of our uranium from? Kazakhstan. Majority of uranium is coming from Kazakhstan and Russia. We know that. But thorium is too much common in India. Similarly, monazite sand. Monazite sand is found in which states? Yes, Kerala. Sands of Kerala. Monazite sand. India can utilize this in a major, major way. And that's the only reason India can make its own supply chain strong rather than depending on China. The black sands of Kerala, very, very good, Ram. Absolutely, Sadhna Kritik. Yes, no problems ahead. Now we know. Black sand Kerala. Yes, Kerala coast. Now 7,280 crore scheme has been announced for rare earth magnets alone. I told you India is experimenting in sintered earth magnets. First, purify the rare earth material and then use it to make magnets. That means both midstream and downstream potential are getting worked upon. What is the aim? To become sovereign, not to depend so much on China. Plus, another strategy India has is FTA, free trade agreement. India has a technological partnership with countries like Australia, EU, Japan, UK, US. Why? Because all these countries have good sources of rare earth material, and India knows if they set up facilities in India, India can help them in midstream and downstream. But definitely, we need more legal framework. We need more investment, private sector participation, and certainty. Research collaboration. We have ambition. Now, whether we can utilize it depends on government investment and training that our people go through in downstream and midstream. Okay? Clear? Kerala, Keralam, the new controversy that has broken out. Okay. Quickly, the question. Consider the following statements regarding India's critical minerals strategy. 1. India has notified a list of 30 critical minerals and eased private sector participation on their exploration. Second, the National Critical Minerals Mission was launched with a dedicated budget to strengthen exploration and processing capacity. 3. China dominates a major share of global mineral processing capacity for many rare earth material, critical minerals. And 4. Union budget provided incentives like removal of import duties on capital goods, almost like raw material, used in critical mineral processing to boost domestic refining capacity. Which of these are true? Shlok and Reshma have answered, that's it. Sitaram answers, very good, bache. Kritik answers. Kritik says all are correct. Vineet, Aman, Shakti, Krishna, Sadhna, Sweetie, Sumit, Ashish, Rajneshwar, Vikash. What about Munna? What about Bulbul? What about Zahir? What about Urupam? Joham Kundan, Kavish, Hika, Bhavna, Ramu, Eric. Bache, did you answer? Shlok. No split. Shlok says no split at all. Sweetie says the same. Saumya, Brajesh are also saying D. So what to do? Then in that case, I have no choice. Absolutely a big round of applause to each one of you. Well performed, well done, excellent, brilliant, smart, and very, very, very analytical. So very, very well done. Urupam, Akhtar, Elvin, Yuvraj, Shinobi, very well done. D is the answer. All are correct indeed. Well performed. Very well done. Quickly, the next article. No split. Next article. Taking sides. Very interesting article. Let's do some traveling now. GS paper 2. International relations. Yes. No ombudsman needed. It's a very unanimous verdict. Very, very good. Okay. Third article, bache. Let's quickly come to Israel. Let's quickly come to Israel. You enjoy the map. Let me explain the article to you. As you are looking at the map, please, yes, Shlok, we are looking at dehyphenation. Brilliant. As you are looking at the map, please, a special focus on Sinai Peninsula. A special focus on the area where Egypt is located. Look at the river Nile. Look at Jordan. Look at Saudi. Look at the Israeli area with a small tiny Gaza strip. Look at the West Bank here. In the back of your brain, please keep thinking about. Close your eyes and appreciate this area. Think, what all do I know? Do I know Camp David? Do I know Abraham? Do I know Oslo? Do I know the division of West Bank? Do I know everything about Golan Heights and Sinai? Do I understand Nobel Peace Prize associated with this area? Think. Let me see. Let me now explain what has happened. Very good, Vineet. What has happened, Bachi? This article says, while India is strengthening its relationship with Israel, an Indian Prime Minister, Shri Modi, has also received the highest award from Israel. It was a very big honor because he is the first Prime Minister in the world to have received this honor from Israel. All that is looking very, very good. India is now committing to Israel that I am your long-term friend and I support anti-terrorism. I also support the fact that Hamas attacked you in October 23 and I strongly condemn that. I am your friend, I will always be your friend and we will improve our partnership. They have signed memorandum of understanding in various areas like AI, like agriculture, technology and education. Bilateral trade, in which India has a trade surplus, is also soon to increase now. This shows that India has a very close relation with Israel, but we must promise that this strong relation with Israel should not impact our strong relations with the Arabic countries. Now, that is not an easy thing to achieve. Mr. Shri Modi, India's Prime Minister, has now recently been on a 24-hour tour of Israel. Israel have signed many key memorandum of understandings. Plus, there is a plan to send 50,000 Indian workers to Israel. Israel has given the visit a very high national priority. They have awarded Mr. Modi with the highest honor of their country by the Knesset, the Parliament of Israel, the first world leader to have achieved this prize. But the article is asking, is the time of the visit appropriate? Is this coming at the right time? Not exactly. Not exactly. West Asia is facing the dirtiest world politics it has in the recent few years. Why? Israel is facing global criticism and condemnation. People are hating upon Israel for the kind of civilian deaths caused in Gaza. People say not only does Israel refuse to respect the two-state solution, but also Israel has zero interest in returning the B and the C part territories that it has captured, which were mentioned clearly in the Oslo Accords. Even countries like Saudi, Oman, UAE, who had agreed to recognize Israel after Abraham Accord of 2020, are today shying away from it. They are not happy. They say we will not respect Israel until Israel stops some kind of violation of the peace pact that's happening in Gaza. In fact, India, which is now such a big, tall friend of Israel, has also said clearly that I am a friend of Israel, but I believe in dehyphenation. I will never support the violence in Gaza. I will never support genocide. And India says, I still support the two-state solution. Yes. Why is the timing sensitive again? Because the West Bank settlement is expanding. Israel says, I will put many more Jewish people in this area, which is not acceptable. If the entire area is captured by Israel, then there is no scope of two-state solution in future. Now look at the global retaliation, Bachche. Absolutely, very good. Very good, Zahir and Sitaram. India has agreed to join the Gaza Peace Board, but as an observer. Yes. Okay. Now look at how many countries are retaliating. Look at Germany. Look at France. Look at UK. They have all condemned Israel's action. Israel's Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu, is facing elections and political pressure in his own country. Even some Israeli people don't want violence anymore. They want some solution out of this daily mess. Mr. Modi's visit is coming at a time where many Arabic countries will misunderstand India's intention and they will say India supports Israel. That means India is okay about the genocide in Palestine. Now, what is the concern about Palestine? Look how India got trapped this time. Despite maintaining dehyphenation, the problem is that India traditionally has always supported the two-state solution. That is, India says, I admire the demand of Palestine Liberation Organization. There should be a Palestine. There should be an Israel separately. But this time, as Mr. Modi went to Israel, they never spoke about the two-state solution. They never did. Mr. Modi did talk about peace, but very briefly. He kept on supporting Israel in terms of the terror activities in Israel. Nothing was mentioned from India clearly on the suffering of Palestinian people. Nothing was mentioned in India about the ongoing Gaza conflict or the Gaza Peace Board. The focus was only on India-Israel. Trade relation, trade relation. This has raised a concern among Arabic countries today who are very cautious of the situation. Now, countries like Saudi Arabia, who were puppets of America, have also started talking. Earlier, Saudi would never say a word in front of President Trump. Today, Saudi has told President Trump that if you are planning to attack Iran, I will not give my land for you to use it as a part of war. Now, people who were quiet earlier are also coming and talking openly. That's the sheer hatred that people are having towards Israel. And India not talking anything about the peace, anything about Palestine could give a wrong message that India is taking sides. That's the problem. India is taking sides. Why is balance and dehyphenation important right now? Listen, because India has a very deep relation with Gulf countries, very deep relation with Qatar, deep relation with Saudi Arabia, strategic security dialogue, deep relation with UAE, comprehensive economic partnership agreement recently signed, Iran, Chabahar Port IMEC corridor, other West Asian countries too. These countries support supply chain in terms of oil and gas to India. They host millions of Indian diaspora workers. They are strategically crucial to India. If India will take Israeli side openly, it could damage its relations with Arabic nations. It will impact our energy security at a time when we are already under pressure from US to stop buying the oil of Russia. It will risk tomorrow a US-Iran conflict, and then which side will India take? Can India openly support US? No. Iran is a very good friend. India can't. And therefore, the Gaza war has created a clear-cut polarization of that area. Clear-cut polarization. Today, India cannot take one side. But as India deals with countries like Israel or other nations, India has to be very balanced. One wrong statement and people believe that India is taking US and Israeli support. And what happens to our relation with Gulf? It gets destroyed. Now, we also know India is a member of groups like I2U2. I2U2. Israel, India, UAE, US. India is also a part of IMEC. India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. India is also a part of INSTC, International North-South Corridor. Plus, India has too many FTAs and proper comprehensive agreements with West Asian nations. And all these depend on regional security. All these depend on regional security. Very good, Vineet. Israel is suggesting a hexagon alliance in the future, Shlok. Very good. Absolutely. Why? Because we believe that we must do something to counterbalance China and US polarization. But right now, India's comments are very crucial. What's the main argument and how can we summarize this article? India has to maintain good relations with Israel. See, Israel is investing in agriculture, in water security, defense relations. We recently spoke about a very important missile yesterday. Which missile was that, Bache? Which missile is India acquiring from Israel? Starts with B. Which missile is that? India is acquiring from Israel. Starts with B. Which missile? Yes, yesterday we spoke about it, no? There is a missile technology India is acquiring from Israel. Very, very good, Reshma and Shlok. The Barak 8 missile. Yes, Barak 8 missile. You see, jointly developed. Yes. Perfect. So we can't leave Israel. But at the same time, we can't also leave the West Asian countries by supporting Israel openly. What is wrong is wrong. What is right is right. So solution, moral commitment to peace and out multi alignment. There is no choice apart from multi alignment. So very well answered, Brajesh. Very well answered, Anoop, Vineet, and Zahir, and of course all others. Very good, Charlotte. Very good, Terukula. Hammer, yes, Hammer was also in the news. Recently developed. India is planning to develop it jointly. Hammer missile, very, very, very good. India has used Hammer. In which operation? In which operation did India use Hammer? Hammer missile, yes. Did India use Hammer missile recently? Where has Hammer missile been used? Shlok and Reshma are already answering Operation Sindoor. Very good. Terukula is answering. So Shlok, Reshma, Terukula, Vineet, Sweetie and Rajnishwar. They have already started answering. Let's see. Consider them, these statements. 1. India, Israel have upgraded their bilateral ties to a special strategic partnership. Okay. Second, India has officially withdrawn its support for a two-state solution of Israel-Palestine. There is a split, I can see that. 3. I2U2 group includes India, Israel, Iran and US. 4. IMEC excludes the Gulf countries. Easy question. But there is a split here. 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 What to do? What to do? A small split has come. Shinobi, Kaushik, Vineet, Sitaram, Zahir, Kavish, everyone is answering. Who else has answered? Shakti, my dear Madhav has answered. Elvin has answered. Okay, okay, all right. Not a problem, not a problem. It can happen sometimes. Very good, Terukula. That is informative. Eric is answering. Rajnishwar Urapam are answering. Bhavna is also answering. Okay, it's high time. Let's break it down. Reshma is clarifying also. Is first correct? Totally correct. As Mr. Modi is visiting Israel and addressing the parliament in NCERT, naturally, the ties have now become strategic, special, because both are criticizing terrorism. Israel says, I support India. In the case of Operation Sindoor, India says, I support Israel against taking actions on Hamas. Correct. First is correct. Please eliminate D. Second, India has officially withdrawn. Is it true? Has India withdrawn support from the two-state solution? No, bache. India has not withdrawn the support. India continues to support the two-state solution. India was the first country in 1960s to support an independent Palestine country. India does it today also. Now tell me one common sense logic. If we were not supporting this, then why would we join? Why would we join the Gaza Peace Board as an observer? Huh? We would not, right? So second is not correct. Can we eliminate B? Yes. 3, slightly confusing. 3 is slightly confusing. You have to read it with focus. I2U2 grouping. India is a member, correct. Israel is a member, correct. US is a member, correct. But Iran is not a member, no. Then who is a member? UAE is a member. Not correct. 3 is not correct. Eliminate C. A is the right answer. Does IMEC exclude the Gulf? Absolutely no. The purpose behind IMEC, India Middle Eastern Europe Economic Corridor, is to ignore Pakistan, to create a pipeline from India to then Afghanistan and then Iran and finally into the Gulf countries. We don't want to include Pakistan. Yeah, it's kind of funny also, the fourth one. Yes, that is why India has invested so much money in Chabahar port, Bandar Abbas port. If a war happens in Iran, our money will also come at stake. Why will we want a war? Tell me. Nobody wants a war. Okay, so A is the right answer. Well tried. Confusions are a part of life. Provided it's clear, no problem. Any doubt, let me know, my dear. Let's quickly proceed with the next article. Now, you will enjoy this article. This is a nice article, but the last one is the most enjoyable. So, stay tuned for the last one and a quick quiz. Quickly, let's do this then. Amid rising tension in West Asia, Mr. Trump is completely shifting his policy on Iran. Now, today's situation has become so ugly between US and Iran GS paper 2 international relations that Mr. Trump also doesn't know. Mr. Trump also doesn't know what he wants. Today, some countries are asking, boss, what do you want? Okay, do what you want, but at least tell us what do you want, bro? Every day you change your policy on Iran. What is your desire? That's what this article is saying. Article is examining how America, US, has increased military presence in West Asia. Now, day by day, as you and I are discussing and laughing about it, military equipment is reaching Iran. Near the Arabian Sea and Persian Gulf, there are aircraft carriers, big aircraft carriers who are going and surrounding Iran every day. They are creating a tension in Iran, creating insecurity every day. However, the US only doesn't know what to do, what not to do. If somebody was to ask him, you just tell us, boss, what you want, I think he has no answer right now, because the bigger question is, what do you want? First, you tell us what do you want. Your goals have to be clear before you attack a country. Now, people are giving multiple choice questions to Mr. Trump as if Mr. Trump is writing UPSC exam. They are saying you select your choice, bro. 1, you want Nobel Peace Prize. 2, you want oil of Iran. 3, you want a regime change in Iran. 4, you want Iran to stop from making missiles or nuclear weapons. You please select A, B, C, D, and then we will decide what to do. But first, at least you answer the question. We are frustrated now. Why are people getting frustrated? Because US has put the largest military built up in West Asia in Iran today. And this is the biggest military setup in West Asia done by US after strike on Iraq. After the war with Iraq in 2003, this is the first time such a big weapon has been put up near Iran, as Vineet is confirming the Jiral R4. It's the biggest aircraft carrier. And so many more surveillance ships are just roaming near Iran. Ramu is laughing. He says all of the above. But you have to choose one option, no? All of the above means what do you want? A full-scale war or what? Okay, even if you want all of the above, at least give an answer. You are giving an answer, but he is not giving, no. I wish the way you are giving, he could also give. Other people also have a life. Other people also have an existence, or he is the only one? Tell me. He is not giving the answer. That is the problem. He is not giving. Now, he is making largest military built up after Iraq war. Will people not be scared? Of course, they will be scared. He is deploying aircraft carrier strike groups, fighter jet, missile defense system to do what? To do what? Sir, what do you want? President Trump is saying, I will use force if Iran does not make a deal. But what deal? At least tell them what deal should they make. What do you want from them? US is confused in its objectives. Initially, US said Iran should stop troubling protesters. Iran should control the civil war. Iran said, okay, done. Then he said, I will take military action unless you create peace in your country. Iran said, done, sir. Then he said, okay, fine, very good. Next, now you should stop your nuclear program. Iran said, done, sir. Not today, JCPOA also I have done. 2015, when I signed JCPOA with you. Yes, totally. With the P5 countries and Germany, I already said I'm not making nuclear weapon. I also told you, if you want to inspect, come and inspect. You are welcome, sir. What is the problem then? What is the tension? Now Mr. Trump says, no. It is not just about nuclear weapon. You must stop making ballistic missile also. And you must stop uranium enrichment also. But Iran said, listen, I will do nuclear enrichment, not because I am looking for deterrence or attack, because I want to use it for civil purpose. I also want nuclear energy. Hello. You are not the only one who has a nationally determined contribution. I also have. You are not the only one who wants to control carbon emission. I also want to do. So please allow me peaceful use of nuclear energy. And you were so serious. Why did you leave the JCPOA in 2018 suddenly? Why did you condemn? We had an agreement, right? That's what Iran is saying. But US has not said anything. It's quiet. It just says, I will take an action. Iran is asking, why will you take an action? Now, US and Iran, therefore, finally decided to do some peace talk in Muscat, Oman. Oman is a mediator. We know that. Iran said, I will not build nuclear weapon. Please believe me. US said, no, I will not believe you. You must stop nuclear enrichment. Iran said, that I am not going to do. US said, I want you to do zero enrichment. No uranium enrichment. Iran said, that I can't agree. That I can't agree. Even JCPOA had not said do zero enrichment. It had given a small upper limit but allowed some enrichment. Today it says, why are you increasing your demands? I am not going to stop enriching. Yes, disagreement has remained therefore. On missile program, Iran says, I want ballistic missile. Very good, Reshma. That deserves a round of applause. Under JCPOA, very good. That is very, very good. JCPOA, 3.67% was the upper limit to nuclear enrichment. That is what we spoke about. Yes. But then today he's saying no nuclear enrichment at all. Iran says, I am not accepting that. Sorry, I am not accepting. Now, Iran is saying, I don't even support terror groups in West Asia. Why do you keep attacking me? So, what are the key points of conflict today? US says Iran must never ever get nuclear weapons. Iran says, I don't want nuclear weapons, but definitely I want peaceful use of nuclear energy. If the issue is only nuclear weapon, the deal could have been possible. But you are saying no enrichment and no kind of missile program, that I am not going to accept. Sorry. What's the larger political tension here? This leads to a higher tension in West Asia. Israel strongly opposes Iran. Saudi is also scared of Iran. US military pressure is increasing the risk of a war. Negotiations are happening, but no side is ready to make a compromise. And for Iran, it is understandable also. So, what's the main argument here? The US has created a strong military pressure, a major military pressure, and threatened Iran against nuclear weapon. Threatened Iran, completely threatened against not just nuclear weapon but any kind of missile program as well. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. So the situation is shifting between diplomacy and escalation, with the global community just looking on in confusion. That's it. Now please have a look at the map here. Please focus on the map, everyone. In the map, you will be able to see some important points here. Southern Iran, Bandar Abbas, Chabahar Port. Yes, you can see the very, very famous nuclear site Ishfaya round here. You know Ramsar is on the top of Iran, the convention 1971. The most important, you can see the boundary or the border with Iraq. You can see Persian Gulf here. Iran and Russia are conducting a joint military exercise here right now. You can see Bushehr, the very famous area of nuclear enrichment here, Iran. Very good, Kaushik. Brilliant. Now you can also see the most important point without which you and I don't live also. It's a daily ritual. Very good, Reshma. Strait of Hormuz. As UAE pokes into Iran's Strait of Hormuz, strategic choke point, Iran is planning to close it today if US maintains the pressure. Now, on the eastern side, you can look at the boundary with Afghanistan. You can look at with Pakistan. So that's pretty much. Here is Saudi Arabia. Yes. Okay, you can see the small Kuwait here. All the oil-rich countries. Very, very good. Clear? Bab al-Mandeb is just at the opposite side where Yemen is existing. The narrow choke point there. Well done. Well done. Well done. Perfect. Balochistan, correct. The big ongoing war with Pakistan itself for separation. Baloch Liberation Army, very, very good. Qatar, what does Qatar have? As Vikash reminds, Al Udeid Air Base of US, the largest military air base. Very good. Last question, and the last tip is Oman, rich country, a mediating country. Qatar and Bahrain, very, very good, equally important. Excellent. Kuwait, the latest country to be added in BRI. Perfect. Very good. Absolutely well done. Now, next question. Consider the following statements regarding recent US-Iran tensions. 1. The US has demanded that Iran completely stops uranium enrichment as a part of nuclear agreement. Second, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action JCPOA in 2015 required Iran to permanently give up all uranium enrichment activities. And 3, despite military escalation, US and Iran have resumed nuclear negotiations through diplomatic channels. Which of these are valid? Answers initiated from Shlok, AB, Reshma, Madhav, Sharlok, Vikash, Bhavna, Sitaram. Great. Now Vineet, Terukula, Santosh, Shakti, Joham, all are answering. So which of these are valid? Most students are saying B is the answer, but there is a minor split. Yes, there is a minor split here. Elwin, Hika. Let us see. A is correct. Totally correct. B is correct. Not correct. Because in JCPOA, Reshma had just confirmed. In fact, I wrote down also. 3.6 was the upper limit at which Iran could do nuclear enrichment, but not more than that. So under JCPOA 2015, it was not about completely stopping, but reducing to a major extent. Second, invalid. Second invalid, CD-ROM. Three, despite military increase, they are trying negotiation through diplomacy. They are. Why are they not? Because they have just met where? One in Muscat, Oman. Second, also in Geneva, in Switzerland. In both the places, Oman is trying to mediate the tensions between both the countries. So third is also correct. Very good. In Muscat also, in Geneva, Switzerland also, making B the right answer. Really well performed. I hope anybody who has a doubt is now clear. If there is any doubt, do let me know. Now, a small article, and after that, the interesting thing comes. We will go to Sudan after that. So just 2 minutes quickly, front page article, nothing very complicated. But then this article is looking at GS paper 2, polity and governance. Now, a very strange thing has happened in India. The Honorable Supreme Court of India, now which article of the Constitution deals with the Honorable Supreme Court? It is Article 124 of the Indian Constitution. Yes, absolutely. And we are looking at contempt of the court. Supreme Court judges are very unhappy and they feel very violated. Why? Supreme Court has taken a serious objection on NCERT textbook of grade 8, social science textbook, that made selective references to corruption in the judiciary. The Supreme Court today says there has been a deliberate and a calculative attempt to portray the judiciary as a negative element. Very good, Shlo. The suo motu cognizance of the crime. Absolutely. Correct. Brilliant, Shakti. All these articles are crucial here. Let's do them one by one. So the Honorable Court says, deliberately a wrong reference has been made here. A calculative reference to portray judiciary negatively. An effort to undermine public trust, especially among young students, has been done. And what has the Supreme Court said? The Supreme Court has said, Supreme Court is Article 124, Supreme Court has ordered a complete ban on the book. Very good. A suo motu cognition of this contempt of the court. Very, very good. It said, let's ban all these textbooks. It has told, seize and seal all the copies of this textbook, both digital as well as physical copies. Initiated contempt proceeding against itself. Issued showcase notice to the Education Ministry Secretary, to NCERT Director. And what did the Chief Justice of India say? Now, the 53rd Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant, said, it appears to be a deep-rooted conspiracy. The judiciary's dignity and institutional authority have been targeted in India. It's a big thing. The apex court of India. Why is the court angry? Court says the textbook gave selective, deliberate references about corruption that's very rampant in Indian judiciary, and that's not valid. If this is ignored, then we are insulting the role of judiciary in protecting democracy. We are insulting the basic structure doctrine of our constitution, Keshwan and Bharti case. Then we are also questioning constitutional morality. Constitutional morality. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he used to talk about how constitution is a living doctrine in India. We have questioned the morality of the constitution because judiciary is the most basic part of constitution. Legal and access to justice reforms have been questioned today, and the courts are feeling that this is all about one-sided negativity being perpetuated. What's the government saying? Now, the Solicitor General of India, very important, Solicitor General of India has been now questioned and he apologized. The Solicitor General of India has apologized. Now, which article of the Indian Constitution talks about the Solicitor General? Yes. Which article of the Indian Constitution talks about the Solicitor General who has apologized to the Supreme Court right now because of this NCERT controversy? Which article of the Indian Constitution, Bache, talks about the Solicitor General? Article 76. Very good, Shlo. Article 76 talks about Solicitor General. Yes. It provides for a special Attorney General for India. Who appoints? Who appoints? Appointed by the President. Must be qualified to become a Supreme Court judge. A chief legal advisor to the government of India has a right to audience in all the courts in India. Very, very important. Yes, by the president. 76 Vikash. Good. Perfect, Brajesh and Eric. Correct. Now what happens? The court is saying apologies is not enough. Not enough, sorry. Apologies are not enough. We want accountability, a deeper reform, and in future responsibility. Do not educate our children into wrong things. We don't want any kind of humiliation for India's topmost judiciary system not to be appreciated. That's what the Supreme Court has said very categorically right now. He has a right to audience in all the courts, in all the proceedings. Absolutely. Absolutely. Advocate General for the states. Indeed, we are also looking at one more article here. Another article that we are looking at is Article 19(1)(a), the right to free speech and expression. Yes, in India, we have a right to free speech and expression, and you can argue, why can't it be defended under that? But then there is Article 19(2) also. That means right to free speech and expression should respect some public morality, India's sovereignty and national security. And questioning the conduct of Apex Court is not to be defended under 19(1)(a). Plus, Article 140, Article 141 is also involved here. Article 141 talks about law declared by Honorable Supreme Court that is binding on all the courts in India. Uniformity of the justice system. So Article 141 is being questioned also when you are criticizing the Honorable Court openly. Now the last article for the day, super enjoyable. We must travel to Sudan. In just 5-6 minutes, I will explain everything that has ever happened in Sudan, and no student will ever get confused about Sudan controversy. But then I will ask some interesting questions also. But focus right now. Pack your bags and let's go to Sudan. What is happening? You enjoy the map. Please focus on the map. Enjoy the location. Yes, Bache Terukula, is there anything you are saying? Article 76. Article 76, when we are talking about the Solicitor General. Yes, it is a statutory position. Absolutely. Not constitutional. Statutory position. But at the same time, Article 76 provides for Attorney General for India. Okay? Very good. All right. It's not a constitutional body. Perfect. Wonderfully explained by Shlok and greatly raised by initially Reshma and now Terukula. Very good. Can we now quickly go to Sudan? Please have a look here, Bache. Quickly. Yes, Shlok. Any question? All right. Looking at Sudan here. Please try to focus the neighborhood of this area. Very enjoyable article. Can you see Egypt on the top? Suez Canal. Can you see Libya? Pakistan is supplying weapons to Libya now. Pakistan is becoming arms exporter. Countries like Chad, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Afar region, Haley Gubby volcano, Shield volcano, Eritrea, the war between Eritrea, Ethiopia, Tigray region, the Red Sea, Saudi Arabia towards the right side of the Red Sea. The port of Sudan, as Terukula said, acquired by Russia recently. Badmi region, very good. Now, please listen what is going on here. Very nicely you have to focus, and in future you will never have a trouble with Sudan. Listen now. What is happening? Sudan is facing a civil war. Why? Between two powerful military groups. Which groups? SAF, Sudani Armed Forces, led by a man called Fateh al-Burhan. We often call him as Burhan. Then SAF is fighting with another group called RSF. What is RSF? Rapid Support Forces, led by a man named as Hamdan Dagalo. We call him Hemediti. Hemediti. These are the two leaders. These are the two wars. So the war has been between SAF and RSF. The conflict began in April 2023. Why did the war start? War started after Sudanese dictator Omar al-Bashir was removed from power in 2019. So, everybody should know why did the war start? War started 2019 officially after the dictator of Sudan by the name of Omar al-Bashir was removed. After his removal, military and civilians tried to form a transitional government, but the power struggle is happening between SAF and RSF consistently. There has been disagreement over control of army, control of territory. RSF wants to be integrated with the main army of SAF, but SAF denies that. Political power sharing has been a big problematic situation, and this power struggle today has become a full scale civil war. What's the current situation in 25 and 26? Listen now. Civilian violence increased, genocide, sexual abuse, migration, hunger, unemployment, massive humanitarian crisis is going on. Now listen, bache, Sudan is the worst humanitarian crisis in the history of the world right now. Many people are getting displaced internally. And where are refugees going? Refugees are running to places like Chad, South Sudan, and Egypt. Egypt initially closed its boundary, but still people migrated through donkey routes, taking dangerous voyages in Red Sea, even reaching places like Saudi Arabia or reaching up to places like European countries, Eastern European countries. This is the level of migration right now. Severe health system, food security collapsing is going on in the boundary of Sudan in places like Chad, Central African Republic, and South Sudan, Ethiopia. You see massive refugee camps that are existing even today. But the bigger question, is it a proxy war or is it just a civil war? Is it just a civil war between SAF and RSF or is it a proxy war, Bacha? It is a proxy war. I told you all the wars of Africa are proxy war. Which are the bigger parties involved here? Let's talk about them. Very good. It's a proxy war. And before we say proxy war, listen to one more thing that I want to tell you. Sudan is one of Africa's biggest gold producers. I repeat, biggest gold producer. Gold is the top export item here and the crucial source of foreign exchange here. Mining happens day in and day night through industrial mining and artisanal small scale mining involving maximum human, women and child abuse. This is also sometimes known as the Gold War, but it is a proxy war. Now, which countries are involved? Listen carefully and also listen to me. Why are they involved? Now, the biggest country that could be involved here is UAE, United Arab Emirates, led by MBZ. Why is UAE involved? Because UAE has been accused of supporting RSF, the Hemedti party. UAE has been accused of directly supplying arms and financial money to RSF. UAE, although denies direct involvement, it is directly involved. What is the motive of UAE? What is the motive of UAE? Yes, the map is incomplete here. There are two more nations, right? There are two more nations here, right? That we must keep in our mind. Why is UAE involved here? UAE is involved here because UAE wants to control Red Sea. UAE wants to control the gold trade that is happening here. Yes, next. Which is the next biggest party? Very good, Terukula. Who is involved? Egypt is involved. Why is Egypt involved? And whom does it support? If UAE supports RSF, Egypt supports SAF, Sudanese Armed Force. Why? Because Egypt has a strong military tie with Sudan. Egypt is concerned about the security of River Nile and the various ports and basins in River Nile. Egypt is worried about stability in its southern border. That's why Egypt wants the main army, SAF, to rule. Because if there is any problem that happens here, it impacts the border of Egypt. I told you, just like on the right side. Just like on the right side. Saudi wants peace in Yemen. Why? Because Saudi knows every time there is a rebellion in Yemen, there is a refugee crisis in Saudi. Border countries want peace, and that's why Egypt wants peace by supporting SAF. But now there are bigger cats involved. Russia is involved in a big way. Why is Russia involved? Russia has been throughout linked to RSF. Just like UAE, Russia supports rapid security forces. Why? Have you heard about the very famous group of Russia called the Wagner Group? Does anybody know about the Wagner Group? What is Wagner Group, bache? Russia supports RSF, Rapid Security Forces, through its Wagner Group. What is Wagner? Now, Wagner is a private military network. Okay, it is a group in Russia, but it's a private military company that operates as a mercenary force. Yes, it is private, not official, but it has been linked to massive Russian operations outside the country. It provides Russia military intelligence. When was it founded? 2014. What is the biggest interest here of this group called Wagner? Gold. Wagner wants gold from here. Wagner does parallel treaties with RSF. Wagner does mining control here. Wagner is behind human abuse here, child exploitation. They take money from the mining, illegal small mining that goes on here. Plus, Wagner wants naval base on the Red Sea. It wants strategic foothold in Russia. That's why they are behind this area. But when Russia is there, can President Trump not come? Is it possible? So US is also involved. Why is US involved? US says I have no direct military involvement, but US has constantly been trying for ceasefire and negotiation. US has also imposed sanctions on many groups here. Why? US wants regional stability. US believes this leads to terror and arms and narcotic traffic. US says it's a humanitarian crisis, but at the end of the day, whatever US says, American allies, Saudi Arabia is also involved. Why is Saudi involved? Saudi wants stability in the Red Sea. Now look at the location of Saudi Arabia on the border of Red Sea. Whenever there is a war that's happening in Sudan, it does impact piracy. It does impact secret operations in the Red Sea area. This terrorism carries on to Saudi. Saudi wants peace. Now look at the battle for Saudi Arabia. In the southern part, it is trying to create peace in Yemen because that calls for cross-border terrorism. On the left-hand side, it tries to support peace in in Sudan, because it also creates intrusion into Saudi territory. So Saudi is also sandwiched between the Sudan civil war and Yemen civil war in the south. Did you see that? As a regional power, it is highly concerned. Why do big powers care so much, you might ask me? I have an answer. Because Sudan is a strategically important area. Look at the location of Sudan on the Red Sea trade route. It is close to the Middle East. Sudan has a massive gold resource. Sudan is located in the Horn of Africa near Eritrea and Ethiopia, Somalia. It is accessible. Sudan is linked to the politics over River Nile and the resource control. Is it clear? That's why people are running behind Sudan. Yes, you can also call it the gold rush. China is not directly involved in this battle. No, not really. Not directly involved in this battle, but in the past, reports have come that China was behind financing certain versions of mining through Wagner groups. So can't deny completely, but officially China is not involved. Now, a very interesting set of questions I want to ask you. This is it. We are done for the day. You have seen the map. I hope nobody will forget the Sudan civil war. In case you do, you can visit the PDF again. Let's quickly have a look at the map of Sudan just once for our satisfaction. This is Sudan, capital Khartoum. Look at the river Nile and how it traverses through this area. Look at the Blue Nile, White Nile. Look how they are just distributed across eastern Sudan. Yes? Look at Eritrea in the background. Right? Sudan is very, very near the eastern horn of Africa. Now, with that, we are almost done, but there are a few questions I want to ask. One, we often talk about cobalt, the blue color material that is so important for critical minerals, renewable energy, semiconductors, solar cells. Which is the country which is the largest producer of cobalt in the world? Quickly. Yes, please. Largest producer of cobalt in the world is which country? Thank you, Ankit. Which is the largest producer of cobalt in the world? Quickly, bache, who knows that? Terukula answers, Reshma answers, Shlok answers. Okay, very good. So that's absolutely correct. It is the Democratic Republic of Congo that's the largest producer of cobalt in the world. In Africa and in the world now, it produces 70% of the global cobalt production. But Are there any specific areas in DRC that we should relate with cobalt? Yes. Never forget the name of Katanga province. Katanga province is the largest blue color cobalt mine. Plus, there is a region which is known as Kolwezi area. Kolwezi region. In case you get a question in prelims, Katanga Kolwezi. Related to Democratic Republic of Congo, somebody gave a beautiful mnemonic. Shlok said, C for Congo, C for cobalt. So remember DRC. Correct? Okay. If this is about cobalt, then which is the largest producer of copper in the world? We just spoke about copper, right? Khetri mines, Rajasthan. Which is the largest producer of copper in the world? Yes, copper. Copper in the world. Largest producer of copper in the world, which country? I can give you a hint. It's a country from Latin America. Very, very good. Absolutely, Shlok. Which is the country which is the largest producer of copper in the world? Chile. Very good. It is Chile. I told you. The long, small stick-like country on the western coast of South America. Another quick question. Does Chile share a border with Brazil? Does Chile in South America share a border with Brazil? Quickly. It's an easy question for you. For other students, I don't care. But for my class, it is super easy because we have done it. No or yes, yes or no? Yes. Acha, it does. Really? Very good, Terukula. I have shown on the map to you, my dear bache, that in South America, Brazil shares border with every country except two. Ecuador and Chile, because Chile is too chill to share border with any other country. So let's remember that. Very good. Next time, remember bache. Largest copper reserve. Okay, last quick question. Which is the largest lithium producer in the world? Okay, let's go to lithium. Which is the largest lithium producer in the world? Critical mineral. Yes, you did. I saw that. Very good, Shlok. Very good, Vikash, Vaibhav, Brajesh, Terukula. Largest producer of lithium in the world. Yes. Okay, come out of South America. Everybody is traveling to South America now. Come out of South Africa, South America. Largest producer of lithium. Reshma, Shlok, Vikash, Sitaram, Shakti. Very good. Rajneshwar, Australia. Very, very good. Brilliant, absolutely. The largest producer of lithium in the world, Terukula, Pothu, Krishna, Australia. Brilliant. Okay, second last question. Which is the largest producer of silver in the world? A hint, we have read about this country in last 2 days. Very good, Eric. Very good, Bhavna. Largest producer of silver in the world. Yes, silver. Largest producer of silver. Sudan is the largest for gold. Silver. Sudan was the largest for gold. Then silver. Silver prices are increasing. Very good, Shlok. Reshma, brilliant. Absolutely. We are looking at Mexico. Why is Mexico in the news? El Mencho was killed. Sitaram Yuvraj, very good. El Mencho was killed, no? The narcotic drug cartel leader. What is going on in Mexico? Civil war. Last for the day. Positively last. Which is the largest nickel producer in the world? Which is the largest producer of nickel in the world? The largest producer of nickel in the world. Yes. This is slightly tricky. Think. Largest producer of nickel in the world, bache. Nickel. Nickel. Sudan has the highest gold reserves. China for gold. Producing. Correct. Because China has downstream, midstream. Who said Indonesia? Very good. Very, very good. Absolutely correct. Correct, Vineet Reshma. Very good. Perfect, Rajneshwar Shakti. Indonesia. Largest nickel producer in the world. Eric Sitaram. But as you are remembering Indonesia for nickel, there is one more thing I want to tell you. There are two names I want you to remember. Now, how will you remember? I don't know. Mnemonic masters. Yes. Vikash, Ramu, Terukula, Sitaram, Reshma. Shlok, Ashish, Eric, Terukula, help us make a mnemonic, because I want you to remember, if Indonesia is the largest producer of nickel in the world, then there are two mines in this area, two islands that are very famous for nickel mining. If you get a question in places in the news, one person will not make a mistake. One is called as Sulawesi and the other is known as Halmahera. One is Sulawesi and the other is Halmahera. Sulawesi, Halmahera. Sulawesi, Halmahera. I don't know how you are remembering. Please do something about it. Help everyone. Sulawesi, Halmahera. Indonesia, largest nickel producer. These two come in the picture very often when we talk about these places. Now keep the mnemonics, make the mnemonics, learn it somehow. I'm going to ask it next week. Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Surprise test. Yes, Indonesia and Malaysia, major producers of palm oil also. Very good. So will we remember all that? From Sudan to China, gold to silver, Mexico to cobalt, DRC, to we will remember Australia, we will remember lithium Australia, we will remember Chile, copper, and will we remember all these things? No problem, bache, no problem. Just make a mnemonic. Now we remember everything. In future, will all the students remember? Yes, Anup, Sitaram, Rajesh. In future, will we remember? These are in Indonesia, bacha. Nickel producer. Will we remember? Yes? Thank you so much for the lovely interactive session, inquisitiveness, participation. I wish men much more participation in the class. Let's talk, discuss, let's make it very vibrant. Studies are so interesting. Yes, you can remember like those names also. Bhavna is also giving a very interesting trick here. So in future, let's try to remember everything we learned today. And PDFs I haven't shared for a long time. It's a valid concern. I got an email yesterday, ma'am, PDFs have not come. Yeah, of course, I agree. I apologize, bache. Let me just share the PDFs today. Okay, let's have another quiz tomorrow. All right, on some other topic. All right. Thank you, Vaibhav. So kind of you. God bless each one of you. Love all of you. Lots of blessings to you. Study hard. Take rest. No stress. Enjoy your studies. And I want to see each one of you as a future officer of this country, making yourself proud, making me proud. I have so much faith in all of my students and their wonderful capacity. Yes. Mail ID and the PDFs I will share. I haven't updated anything in the last 3 days. Correct. And I'm so sorry about that. I will do it today.